It's a bit like puberty, but longer and slightly less dark. From the moment we're conceived, basically when someone wins the game of which cell can swim fastest, to the point where shouting at the TV because of the good animated time. We're constantly growing, evolving, and wondering if we have accidentally left the stroke on since 2009.
In this groundbreaking documentary, we are here to investigate a species rarely studied in the wild, the emerging adult Filipino, especially those who found nesting in academic grounds of Mindoro State University, Calapan campus. These young humans are in a crucial phase of life, no longer teenagers, not yet tax-paying citizens who pretend to enjoy a cup of a bitter coffee.
Emerging adulthood is the period when people begin to think about life's biggest questions. Questions like, who am I? What do I value? Why did I disagree? I now Google me panic. It's a time when identity, moral reasoning, and motivation to not just not forever comes into full fruition.
We shall be guided by different choices made by clever people who had enough time to think and enough grant money to publish, such as John William Atkinson's expectancy value theory, which sounds like an economic forecast but is actually about motivation.
To discuss Filipino cultural elements like utang na loob or debt of gratitude, pakikisama or companionship, pagtatampo or silent sulking with telenovela level of drama, and of course, paggalang or in English, respect. From saying po and opo to deferring to elders' opinion. This shapes how we speak, decide, or even dream, turning adulthood into a polite tug-of-war between self and society.
Filipino society, making decisions isn't just about what you want. It's about what your mom, your uncle, and your neighborhood's cousin who once saw you at church thinks you should want. Balancing personal dreams with inherited obligation is just like riding through marathons while being pulled in opposite directions. While one wheel's on fire and someone is offering you rice.
By the end, we hope to understand how young Filipinos navigate their identities, ambitions, and extension dread out while being very polite about it. They face questions like, should I follow my passions or my parents' idea? What won't make them resolve? Or, am I making progress in life or am I just collecting certificates like Pokemon cards I can trade for a stable job?
Because in the end, as Socrates didn't say but probably should have, the unexamined youth is still expected to graduate on time. And if they don't, at least they'll have the emotional resilience to smile through the disappointment while quietly questioning everything, especially themselves.
Paano mo ilalarawan ang yugto ng buhay mo ngayon? Is it like a Netflix series full of drama, uncertainty, and you're not quite sure if there's going to be another season?
I think malalarawan ko yung buhay ko as meal or gulong. Kasi may panahong nasa taas, may panahong nasa baba, at may minsan umiikot lang sa gitna. Para sa akin, ang yugto ng buhay ko ay, ang kasalukuyang yugto ng buhay ko ay nasa gitnang parte ng gulong. Kasi wala ako sa rurok ng tagumpay, pero wala rin ako sa pinakamabigat na pagsubok ng buhay ko. So mahalin tulad ko talaga yung buhay ko sa gulong.
Pakiramdam mo ba ay nasa pagitan ka ng pagiging kabataan at pagiging ganap na adult?
I think yes. I don't feel like I'm caught in between, stuck in the space between youth and adulthood. There are days when I feel like an adult trapped in teenager's body, carrying responsibilities, expectations, and decisions that seems far beyond my years. I'm expected to plan my future, make mature choices, stay strong under pressure, and sometimes even guide others while I'm still figuring out myself. But at the same time, nakikita pa rin ako ng society as bata, as young pa rin. Kasi nga, yung voice ko hindi pa rin talaga siya fully heard kasi nga, syempre iniisip ng society na bata pa, ganyan, hindi pa rin talaga siya valid, hindi pa rin siya valid enough. Tapos other times naman, I feel like a teenager trapped in a society that expect me to already didn't know how to pay taxes, ganon, handle bills, make life-changing decisions, and keep everything together even when I barely know what I want for lunch. It's really confusing, it's overwhelming, and often exhausting. Talaga nakakapagod siya. nakakapagod talaga siya. Pero I'm constantly balancing the freedom of youth naman with the weight of growing up. Pero it's strange kasi in between phase full of questions and silent battles, nakakapagod. Pero but I know, we all know naman na it also where the growth begins.
Ano ang mga oportunidad at hamon na nararanasan mo habang hinahanap mo ang sarili mong landas?
Na ang opportunity, hindi ko lang opportunity siya, pero habang hinahanap ko yung sarili kong landas, maraming lesson or opportunity tulad ng pagkakaroon ng mga new experience, ganon, or pagkatuto sa iba't ibang tao, like tapos yung pagka mas nakilala ko yung sarili ko, tapos yung mga kakayahan ko na hindi ko naman kayang gawin dati. I question myself a lot of times if I was good enough, smart enough, or strong enough to succeed. Instead of taking a risk, I choose to stay silent, or hindi talaga ako nagawa ng action. Looking back, I realized I wasn't just afraid of failure. I was afraid of not living my own expectations. In a way, I ghosted my own ambitions, thinking I was protecting myself from disappointment. Pero yun na, pagdating sa katotohanan, I was also keeping myself from growing, na mag-grow pa. But now I'm learning to face those fears and take small courageous steps forward to what I really want.
Part 2, Motibasyon at Layunin. Expectancy value tree because apparently we make decisions based on how likely we are to succeed and how much we care. Which is odd because I once bought a treadmill and I care nothing for running.
Ano ang pangunahing dahilan kung bakit mo pinipili ang iyong mga desisyon sa buhay?
Ano ang pangunahing dahilan? The main reason why I choose my current path in life is because I want to follow the direction that I truly desire. And I believe it will bring me personal happiness and growth. For example, sa pagpili ko ng course na psychology, I chose to pursue a degree in psychology. Kasi I want to understand myself more. Hindi lang ako, pati yung ibang tao. And I hope to become an instrument of healing for those people who are having tough times or through difficult times.
May pagkakataon ba na gusto mong gawin ang isang bagay pero hindi mo itinuloy dahil pakiramdam mo ay hindi ka magtatagumpay?
There have been times when I truly wanted to pursue something but I held myself back because I doubted my own abilities. Or yung sa example yung sa mama ko kasi mag-usap kami last time, kabidyo call kami. And then OFW kasi siya, nag-work siya sa salon. And then may customer siya na bakit daw hindi ako din pag-aralin sa abroad sa Dubai. Mag-take ako ng exam sa pinakamalaking university sa Dubai. Pero tinanggihan ko yung nanay ko kasi bukod sa malaking process, wala rin akong tiwala sa abilities ko na kaya kong ipasa yung exam. Kahit sobrang laki ng opportunity, pero hindi ko nagawa kasi nga alam ko sa sarili ko na hindi ko magagawang ipasa yun.
Masasabi mo bang mas ginaganahan kang tuparin ang isang bagay kapag alam mong may possibility kang magtagumpay? Or do you prefer a good challenge, like trying to finish a group project without doing all the work yourself?
Yes, I do feel more motivated to accomplish something when I know there's a real possibility na magsa-success ako, or possibility of success. That sense of hope pushes me to give my best because I can clearly see the goal naman and the rewards. But at the same time, I also value good challenge.
Paano nakaka-apekto ang utang na loob sa mga desisyon mo? Does your ambition come with a receipt that says, bayarang utang, one successful life, please?
Malaki yung effect niya. Malaki talaga yung factor niya sa buhay ko. Kasi, malaki yung effect niya sa pagdesisyon ko sa buhay. Kasi lumaki ako na may malalim na pagpapahalaga sa sakripisyo ng magulang ko. Kaya parang may baon akong resibo na, yun nga, yung bayarang utang,
One successful
life, please. Hindi lang para sa sarili ko hindi lang para sa sarili kong pangarap ko, kundi para rin maibalik ko sa magulang ko at masuklian ko yung mga paghihirap nila. Tapos yung tiwalang ibinigay na rin nila sa akin. Minsan nakakabigat kasi parang may pressure na hindi ako pwedeng mabigo or hindi ako pwedeng mapagod. Pero sa kabilang banda, ito rin yung nagsisilbing apoy na nagtutulak sa aking magsikap pa.
Gaano kahalaga ang papel ng pakikisama sa araw-araw?
Mahalaga siya. Sa lahat ng aspect, mahalaga talaga yung pakikisama. Kasi, kunwari, araw-araw kasi tayo nakikipagsalamuhan tayo sa iba't ibang tao, iba't ibang ugali yung nakakasalamuhan natin, iba't ibang personalidad. Tapos sa kultura natin, malaking bagay ang hindi makasagasa sa damdamin ng iba. Ganon. Tapos, kaya minsan kahit hindi tayo sang-ayon o komportable, pumapayag tayo sa gusto nila or sumasang-ayon tayo sa isang bagay para lang hindi tayo matawag na KJ. Para hindi rin masabing bastos o walang respeto. Totoo may mga pagkakataon na tinatanggap ko yung isang alok or pagkain or yung mga bagay na hindi, alam mo, hindi mo pwedeng tanggihan, ganun. Kahit yung plano sa buhay, hindi dahil gusto ko, kundi dahil ayoko mapahiya sila o magmukhang hindi marunong makisama.
Naranasan mo na ba ang magtampo?
Yes, naranasan ko na maraming beses. Pero ayun nga, silent treatment. Kasi feel ko kasi kapag ini-express ko yun, yung feelings ko, yung nararamdaman kong tampo. Feel ko kasi iisipin na ng mga tao na sobrang, ang dramatic mo naman, ganito, ganyan. Sobrang ano ka agad sa pagtampo mo. Tapos ayoko rin kasi, baka pag kasi sinabihan ako ganun, mas madadagdagan lang yung tampo ko. Mas ano lang, so yan.
Paano naapektuhan ng pakikisama, utang na loob, at tampo ang kakayahan mong magsalita ng totoo?
Sometimes, yung pakikisama kasi tsaka utang na loob, siya yung main reason or pangunahing dahilan para hindi ko masabi yung totoo. Dahil natatakot ako makasakit ng feelings ng iba or masabihan na bastos or hindi marunong makasama or KJ or hindi marunong, alam mo yun, ano tawag doon, hindi marunong makaramdam. Tapos, sa tampo naman, nagiging ano siya, dahilan ng hindi ko pagsasalita ng mga yung nararamdaman ko talaga. Kasi nga ayoko naman talaga siyang i-let out kasi ayoko nga masabihin ng mga drama.
Bahagi mo ba ang isang desisyong ginawa mo kung saan kinakailangan mong timbangin ang iyong layunin, pamilya, paniniwala at opinyon ng iba?
Yun nga, sa course ko ulit, usapang course ulit sa psychology, yung pag-take ko ng psychology. Isang decision siya kung saan kailangan kong timbangin yung layunin ko at yung expectations ng family ko. Tapos, yung pagpili ko dito parang balancing act. Hindi mo alam kung anong parte ng buhay mo magsisilbing foundation, pero alam mong kailangan mong sundin yung sarili mong passion. Kasi nga, alam mo namang hindi ka sasaya doon. Kung pipiliin mo yung bagay na hindi mo naman gusto, alam mo namang hindi ka sasaya doon. Mahirap kasi mag-commit sa bagay na hindi mo talaga gusto. Hindi siya madali. Kasi may mga pagkakataong tatawagin ka naman talagang bastos kasi hindi mo sinunod yung gusto ng mga magulang mo. Pero sa huli, mas pipiliin ko pa rin yung gusto ko at yung layunin ko.
Ano ang mas nangingibabaw sa kabataang Pilipino ngayon sa tingin mo? Moralidad, personal na layunin or goals, o panlipo ng inaasahan or society's expectations from you? In short,
For me, mas nangingibabaw na yung personal na layunin or personal goals. Kasi, hindi lang para sa akin. Sa mga kabataan din na tulad ko, tulad natin. Kasi nga, marami na kasing mulat sa realidad ngayon. Madami nang nakaka-realize, marami nang aware. Kaya ngayon, dahil doon, mas nagagawa natin unahin yung sarili natin. Yun.
kung may kabataan na nahihirapang magdesisyon dahil sa pakikisama o utang na loob, anong payo ang mabibigay mo sa kanya?
Ang payo na maibibigay ko sa mga kabataan na nahihirapan mag-decide for themselves ay unahin niyo yung sarili niyo. I mean, piliin mo yung sarili mo, unahin mo yung sarili mo, prioritize your hindi selfish na unahin yung sarili, hindi selfish na piliin yung sarili. Yung totoo, mahirap baliwalain yung sinasabi ng ibang tao. Pero sa uli, ikaw pa rin ang mamumuhay sa mga desisyon na ginagawa mo ngayon. Lalo na para rin naman yan sa sa kinabukasan mo. Huwag kang matakot na masabihang iba ka na o hindi ka marunong makisama. Ang tunay na pakikisama hindi dapat nagpapabigat, kundi nakakatulong sa'yo para maging mas totoo ka sa sarili mo. At ang utang na loob, hindi yan sukatan para isang tabi ang pangarap mo. Pwede mo pa rin ipakita ang pagsasalamat sa ibang paraan. Hindi sa pagsunod sa desisyon ng ibang tao para sa'yo. Kaya kung nararamdaman mong nalulunod ka na sa mga opinion at pressure ng ibang tao, yung mga binibigay nila sa'yo yung pressure, then stop. Listen to yourself. Pakinggan mo yung sarili mo.
Life for the respondent feels like being stuck in a revolving door, except the door is made of expectations and the occasional existential crisis. They describe themselves as trapped between adolescence and adulthood, which, according to psychologist Jeffrey Arnett, is a perfectly valid life stage called emerging adulthood. It's that special time in life where you're expected to plan your future while still asking your parents how insurance works. Erik Erikson would call this the identity versus role confusion phase, a fancy way of saying, who am I and why am I always tired? It's a developmental limbo that, in Filipino culture, tends to stretch longer than usual due to close family ties and late independence. Speaking of families, Filipino youth often carry an invisible but emotionally weighty package known as utang na loob or debt of gratitude. The respondent feels this debt like a motivational fire, warming at times, burning at others. This reflects social role theory, which explains why many young Filipinos shape their lives around fulfilling familial roles rather than personal ones. Meanwhile, self-determination theory highlights how this external pressure can clash with one's need for autonomy, like wanting to be an artist but ending up in dentistry because it makes your auntie proud. In short, ambition here isn't just personal, it's a shared family project sometimes funded entirely by guilt. This balancing act doesn't stop with family. Enter pakikisama, the social glue of Filipino life, which translates roughly to going along to get along. The respondent admits to agreeing with others just to avoid seeming rude, classic collectivism as described by Geert Hofstede. This cultural default to harmony over honesty also ties into impression management theory, where you say, "Sure, no problem," while internally screaming into a pillow. In the Filipino context, not being labeled as cager or killjoy can be more important than being honest, which means sometimes you end up at a karaoke night you never wanted to attend. And when emotions aren't expressed openly, they don't just disappear, they morph into tampo, the Filipino version of the silent treatment, but with extra layers of psychological depth. The respondent describes downplaying their feelings to avoid being called dramatic. This is emotional regulation 101, except the regulation is culturally enforced. In psikolohiyang Pilipino, tampo isn't just sulking. It's a culturally acceptable way to show hurt without confrontation, proving that sometimes silence really is louder than words, especially when followed by passive-aggressive pansit serving. Despite all this emotional juggling, the respondent shows signs of emerging from the fog with their own sense of purpose. Choosing their course based on what they want rather than what their family wants is a bold move, something Carl Rogers would call a step toward self-actualization. It's also a textbook case of James Marshall's identity achievement status, having explored options and made a firm choice, even if that choice earns you a few side eyes from the family reunion. Here, moral development shifts from the following rules to following personal values, aligning with the post-conventional stage in Kohlberg's theory, or what most people call finally doing what makes sense. Ultimately, the respondent offers advice to other youth. Choose yourself, even if it makes others uncomfortable. This sounds rebellious, but in a most polite and culturally respectful way. It reflects a growing trend among Filipino youth negotiating cultural values with personal freedom. Relationships, they argue, should be mutual, not one-way lanes of sacrifice. In the end, they urge others to pause, reflect, and remember that pressure should not override dreams. Because if life is like a wheel, as they put it, then surely it's okay to steer sometimes, rather than just holding on.
Paano mo ilalarawan ang ito ng ito?
Alam mo yung para kang nasa ocean, tapos may ka sa bangka, tapos yung alon, very minimal lang. Pero yung path niya parang straight papunta sa kung ano yung plano ko. Tapos ano lang, parang hindi naman lahat, pero karamihan ng mga nangyayari ay ayon sa plano ko. Like, yung mga outcome na nangyayari sa buhay ko ay naka-align sa effort ko pa sa goal or sa goal ko.
Pakiramdam mo ba is nasa gitna ka ng pagitan ng kabataan at pagiging pinagtangan?
Nasa mid dalawa kasi hindi pa rin ako fully mature para tanggapin na nasa stage ako nung adulting life. Madami pa rin ako glimpse ng parang pang-ulang, hindi pa rin nagsisigap ako real life adult. Dahil sa mga common situation, nag-force pa rin ako ng mga criticism. Pero na-vocally leading to that level.
Ang mga oportunidad at hamon na naranasan mo habang hinahanap mo ang sarili mong landas.
Actually, kung sa hamon, madami. Kasi yung landas na gusto kong tahamin, hindi siya nag-align sa buhay na gusto ko ng halos lahat ng paligid sa akin. At medyo mahirap din ako din ang mga goals ko. Yun. So, yung pagiging realistic mo, path na gusto ko, and yung mga unexpected turn of events na dapat ganito na mangyayari sa sarili ko kasi hindi nga yun. Lalo sa mga opportunities, most of them are unexpected, and yung iba opportunities ay connected siya sa goal o sa layunin sa path na gusto kong mangyari. Like itong recent film kasi ang gusto kong landas ng mga or pag-release something like that, very far sa pag-aaral ng pamilya pa.
Ano ang pangunahing dahilan kung bakit mo pinili ang iyong mga desisyon sa buhay?
Mas madami yung dahil gusto ko, ito yung gagawin ko sa buhay. Pero may mga decisions din ako na like parang out of practicality, like itong course na to, dito naman siya gusto, but dahil nga I need to be practical. Yun.
May pagkakataon ba na gusto mong gawin ng isang bagay, pero hindi mo itinuloy dahil pakiramdam mo ay hindi ka magtatagumpay?
May ganong scenario sa life ko, like, ibang college, nagkaroon din ng doubt kasi everyone's pressuring me na, ay wala kang magiging buhay sa arts, wala kang magiging buhay sa pag-acting, at sa pagkanta, hindi ka makain sa anak mo, musical notes, or clapper, para gano'n. Pero, yeah, parang hindi naman laging nagpapatumpay sila. Kapag may motivation, nag-go pa din ako dun sa regardless sa kung gaano kadami yung kanilang. Kasi sabi talagang kanilang.
Masasabi mo mas ginaganahan kang tubarin ang isang bagay kapag alam mong may posibilidad na magtagumpay?
Oo, kahit na ang daming nagsasabi na hindi ako magtatagumpay ka. Kasi optimist akong tao, so usually ang tingin ko lagi sa mga goals ko ay attainable. So, wala nang naging problem sa akin kapag usapang gusto ko na. So, pagka gano'n, iniisip ko agad na ay magtatagumpay ako dito kasi gusto ko. And kapag gusto ko, binibigay ko lahat ng best ko.
Paano nakaka-apekto ang utang na loob sa mga desisyon mo?
Nagkakaroon na lang ng lapse siya sa personal decision ko. Yung utang na loob na dapat hindi dapat ito yung gagawin ko. Meron utang na loob ko to sa mama ko. Sige, itay ko itong person ko ngayon. Hirap ako kung paano ko siya i-relate sa mama ko. Ayoko naman talaga nung nasa kung ano yung kinalarin ko, hindi ko siya babalik gusto. So, hirap ako na sabihin sa kanya na this is not the life that I want, that I want to live a life. Yung pangarap ko.
Gaano kahalaga ang papel ng pakikisama sa araw-araw?
Habang malaki ako, naturally, super halaga ng pakikisama kasi hindi naman pwede na mag-ano isang araw na hindi ka makikisama sa kahit sinong tao. Bukod sa normal is kailangan mo rin talagang makisama kasi every day, halos nakikisama naman tayo sa different units of society. Like, pamilya natin, sa school, peers, diba, gano'n. So, nahalaga. So, like, kahit naman kaaway natin, let's say, ang kaaway natin, pag nasa isang place kayo, pagkakasin natin siya or kailangan nyo talaga siyang pakisamaan, wala, kailangan nyo pakisamaan regardless kung gano'n yung pati-bad niya. Mahalaga.
Naranasan mo ba magtampo?
Oo, pero kadalasan ay maliliit na bagay. Tapos pag maliliit na bagay, kasarero ko maganda, okay. Pero kapag maliit, tapos hindi na resolve, doon siya nalaki.
So, paano naapektuhan ang pakisama, utang na loob, at tampo ang kakayahan mo magsalita ng totoo?
Siguro dahil nandun yung word na tampo, may mararamdaman mo sa tono yung pagkalabag mo. Tapos yung pagiging you're not willing to do anything out from your will, but ginagawa mo siya because of the gratitude. So, hindi siya ganun ka-genuine. Unlike kapag you're doing it for your own will. Kasi, wala kang hate. Walang, iba kasi kapag walang hatred at walang kumbaga parang willing ka talaga na, ay gagawin ko kasi gusto ko siyang tulungan or ito yung gusto ko talagang gawin. So yun, nandun yung genuine. Pero kapag magkasama nyo, parang ang hirap magpapagawin.
Maibabahagi mo ba ang isang desisyong ginawa mo kung saan kinailangan mong timbangin iyong layunin, pamilya, paniniwala at opinion ng iba?
Oo. Every time na pinag-usap ko yung gusto ko sa performing arts, iniisip ko yung layunin ko na dapat in the next 3 years ganito na ako may pangalan na ako na establish for myself. Siyempre iniisip ko din yung pamilya ko kasi dahil ate ako eh. So hindi naman sa dapat, pero out of siyempre siguro gusto ko din namin may bigay akong magandang futuro para sa mga susunod. Hindi siya required at pwede ko naman hindian, pero kaya yung practicality lagi siya sumakagay sa akin. And yung sasabihin ng ibang tao sa pinili ko or pipiliin ko pa lang kasi wala pa, hindi ko pa pinipili ng super cool yung super, hindi pa ako ganun ka super committed sa performing arts. So, yung sinasabi ng mga tao na wala kang future dyan, gayahin mo si ganyan, diba? Ang daming comparison na to the point na naapektuhan niya yung personal choices ko, lalo din ko. And yung iba pang factor. So, mahirap siya, yung appropriate naman.
Pero sa tingin naman, kaya mo siya i-overcome? Na-overcome mo siya?
I think kaya ko siya i-overcome, pero hindi agad-agad. Hindi yung huling boom na pag-isip ko, okay na. Siyempre, madaming process, madaming ting hassle lang on my way para yung tragedy ko yun at yung gantas ng buhay na gusto ko.
Ano ang mas nangingibabaw sa kabataang Pilipino ngayon? Moralidad, personal na layunin, o panlipunan na inaasahan?
Para sa akin, based lang sa sa mga kabataan yung personal layunin yun. Kasi hindi ko lang naman to sa akin nakikita. Kasi nakikita ko rin to sa iba. Like, mas leaning sila towards sa kung ano yung personal na gusto nila. Mas may boses yung mga kabataan nila. Ay hindi nyo ako mapigilan. Hindi naman dahil rebel sila. Kundi dahil mas alam na nila kung ano yung gusto nila ngayon. At mas may
mas binibigyan na sila ngayon ng platform or ng madaming privileges. So, siguro yun yung isa sa reason kung bakit mas pinush ng mga kabataan yung personal na privilege and exercise na ibang kabataan.
Kung may kabataan na nahihirapan mag-desisyon dahil sa pakisama o utang na loob, anong payong may ibigay mo sa kanila?
Siguro it's okay na maging liberated ka. Hindi naman forget liberated ka or hindi mo kaya mo gumawa ng sarili mong desisyon ay wala ka ng utang na loob. Kasi utang na loob for me is totoo naman ang utang na loob and it is a basic mag-ethical na maging thankful. Pero yung to the point na hahayaan mo na makontrol ka by ganyan yung utang na loob, yun yung hindi na tama kasi parang nagpapapaalipin ka na just because para lang maano mo yung para lang masatian mo yung kabutihan when in fact utang na loob is unending. So okay lang na tumalon ng utang na loob, okay lang din na makisama, pero lagi mong iisipin na yung personal choices mo magmamatter yan kapag hindi mo pinili yung sarili mo. Hindi naman sa mugultuhin ka, magiging mahirap siya kasi yung pain ng regret is mas deeper sa pain ng failure. You must try mo lang na pumunta sa path na gusto mo. Kasi wala namang masamaan. Wala din namang magagawa yung ibang tao. Mas madami talaga yung congrats kaysa sa support.
Pero, di ba, ina-acknowledge mo talaga dapat ang utang na loob.
Yes.
So, like, we have to like, hindi naman sa i-repay, pero i-acknowledge siya. At kung gusto mong bumawi, do it sa na gusto mo talagang bumawi.
In the second interview, we have noticed how the perception of life of the interviewer herself reflects on being on the stage, or even if her age tells her so that she is already in her adulthood, she finds it too unrealistic for her. She claims she is still maturing and there are lapses in her personality, a concept of filling in between as highlighted in her next jury. As per her answers on her aspirations, goals, and decisions in life, we can see how she exerted her efforts into achieving what she thinks will be the best for her. Though this does not mean considering only her own will and wants, but also being practical to consider as well the guides of her surroundings. She is an optimistic person. She chose to consider continuing her studies instead of totally engaging herself into performing arts, which she ultimately aspired to be. Well, as a Filipino citizen, the cultural norms of Filipinos such as pakikisama, utang na loob, and tampo made a great impact into how she lives her life. She insisted she considers these three things into making her life more manageable and impactful. A concept in Filipino psychology where the three concepts are being tied to the value of kapwa or shared identity, which emphasizes interpersonal relationships and emotional sensitivity. Developed by Virgilio Enriquez, this theory explains Filipino emerging adulthood's perspective into life, which influence how they navigate relationships and social expectations. Now, what we can learn from her story is this. In everything we do, we need to consider not only our wants, but also what is best from the situation. Practicality makes it all for life to be bearable at some moments. We also need to pursue our wants and not let others' opinions limit us of choosing what we want in life in every way possible. We must choose ourselves to make the most out of living. We must live a satisfied life rooted in caring for our family, satisfying our inner selves, and to be more than just a person living, but a person striving to become purposeful, reliable, bold, and ready to achieve greater heights.